Okay.
Yeah.
So Bereshis, as most of you know, first of all, I welcome all the listeners from Torah Anytime to Yerushalayim Yer HaKodesh. As Hashem, hopefully we'll be live soon. As Hashem, Kipshutai live. In Bereshis, there's something very interesting in the first week of creation, and it's something that I think it's a message that in this time period that we're in now is something that you have to hear over and over and over again. And it's the message of the time. And it's also the message of starting the Torah. There's something incredible that you find. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, on day one, he makes the Shemayim, he makes the Aretz. I only know it because it's my Bar Mitzvah Parsha, but he makes the Shemayim. Well, actually, Shemayim was really day two with Rakia, but he made Or on day one. But he makes this Or, and the Or on day one is this unbelievable Or. This was like the pinnacle of creation. HaKadosh Baruch Hu made this Or, which was unbelievable. Ad Kidei Kach, it's called the Or HaGanis. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu looks at this Or, and he says, this Or, it's not good for the world. This was the pinnacle of the Rebbeinu Shalom, the first creation by Or. And the Rebbeinu Shalom says, you know what? This the tachlis of Bria, this Or, it's not good. It's not good for the Rishayim. It's not good for the civilization in general. You know what? This thing which I made, which was the pinnacle of creation, Or HaGanis l'tzadikim lasid lavai. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, okay, so that we're going to put on the side for the tzadikim lasid lavai. Day two, HaKadosh Baruch Hu comes to be boirei, and already in the Bria, there's something that's not so good. It's not so good. It's machlekes, this shemayim, this aretz, it has to make a rakia, it has to make a separation between the top, between the bottom. It's the first machlekes. Not so good. Not so good. Third day, HaKadosh Baruch Hu comes. He tells the eights to be oise pri, and not only oise pri, but that, like Rashi explains, that the actual eights should have a time of pri. And Chazal tell us that the eights didn't listen. Right? The eight snake didn't listen, and he went and he had the taste of only in the Paris, but he didn't have in the tree itself. Not so good, not so good. HaKadosh Baruch Hu said that the tree is supposed to have a tasty taste, and the tree didn't listen. Whatever that means, it's hard for us to understand this, that the tree didn't listen, but the tree didn't listen. The eights didn't listen. So day one, not so good. Day two, machlekes. Day three, not so good, not so good. The Paris, the tree didn't listen to what it was supposed to do. Not so good. Day four, HaKadosh Baruch Hu makes the sun, he makes the moon, everybody's the same size. All of a sudden, a little vikuach. The moon has to be put in his place, whatever this means. Not so good, not so good. Yeah, what do you see? The whole time HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, Vayar Lekim Kitoy, Vayar Lekim Kitoy, Vayar Lekim Kitoy, Kitoy. Not so good. Every day there's like a bria and an issue, a bria and an issue. Day five, I'm sure if you look in the Midrashim, you'll find something. Day six, we know. Day six was the day that Adam Rishon was created. Ho, not so good. Not so good. That was the day that Adam Rishon was put into Gan Eden. That was the day that Adam Rishon was kicked out of Gan Eden. Not so good. No, so what's the reaction after all 6 days? What's the reaction? It's fabulous. Everything is fabulous. The ganze Bria, the ganze creation, everything is fabulous. Toiv Ma'oid. This is Toiv Ma'oid. If anything, we should look at the Bria and we should say, no, the issue with the Oregon is not so good. The issue with the Machlek is not so good. The issue with the tree not giving off the tasty bark that the tree itself doesn't taste good, not so good. The moon, the sun, the whole story over there, not so good. Adam Arishan with the chait and this is the snake and that, not so good. Not so good, not so good, not so good. Yet HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, Vayar Lekim es kol asher sa v'hinei toiv me'oid. It teaches us from here, Rabbi Yisai, a very big side. A biggest side in life, a biggest side in starting in life, a biggest side in starting as man, in starting a new time period, and certainly the biggest side in the days that we're living in now. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the first creation that ever was in this world, the first creation, Dainu Brias HaOlam, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is teaching you that you can't be mitzumtzum, you can't be mugbal, you can't have expectations, and you can't have your limitations and your expectations of perfection. Perfection has within it imperfections. And a person that is expecting that it's supposed to look this way, this is how it's supposed to look. Bria Sa'ilam is supposed to be, the Or was perfect, the no machlaikes, Day 3, the tree did exactly what it's supposed to do. The sun, the moon, they should be the exact same size. They shouldn't be machlaikisim. Adam Arishan is not going to be chayte. HaKadosh Baruch Hu looks beyond that. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, in the way he's teaching us what is a start, what is a schala, what's a creation, is he's teaching you perfection, which we know the Bria was, Vayar Lekim, he's made, Hine Toiv Ma'oid. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu was teaching us that in the Bria, which is called Toiv Ma'oid, HaKadosh Baruch Hu was teaching us the imperfection within perfection, that's the shleimus of perfection. When it doesn't go the way it's planned, that is not a chesaron in perfection. The most important avodah, that's the avodah right now. The situation that the person is in, that's where he's supposed to steig. The situation of what you created, that is the perfection. And not to have this limited oiskok of, oh, this isn't good, and this isn't good, and this isn't good. It's teaching us this big lesson, Rabbi Sai. You have to be able to adapt to a situation. How many times have we heard this Yesod in the last few days? You have to learn that not always is it going to go kafi how it's planned, but in the situation that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, how you planned it, but in the situation of how HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to set up the situation for us, that is the situation of perfection. That's Hinei Toiv Ma'oid. Everyone was talking about Simchas Torah. I'm going to say something, maybe it's provocative, maybe it's controversial, I don't know. I don't know. Maharash Agadol Azeh. I don't know. My shul also had Simchas Torah. We also had limitations. And you know what? It was one of the most beautiful experiences that I'll ever remember as long as I live. 2 Yidden dancing around the bima with Sifrei Torah, the 2 people that held the Sifrei Torah, everybody else standing in their makim, clapping, everybody feeling the achrayis, that the simcha of Simchas Torah is totally on me. It was an inner simcha. It was the most beautiful experience. I was Chassan Torah in the past. This year at Chassan Torah, I was crying and crying and crying. It was something moiridik. I can't explain it. It was probably my attitude, though. My attitude was that this is moiridik. If this is the Simchas Torah of Tavshin Pei Aleph, then this is the Simchas Torah of Tavshin Pei Aleph Vayar Lekim as Koil Asher Asa V'Hinei Toiv Ma'oid. The Yom Kippur, Rabbi say, I will remember this Yom Kippur for the rest of my life. I don't know if I'll remember all the last years of Yom Kippurs, but this Yom Kippur, I'll certainly remember. The experience of the Rosh Hashanah, I'll remember this. Vayar Lekim as Koil Asher Asa V'Hinei Toiv Ma'oid. What's the Rash HaGadol Azeh? What's the Rash HaGadol? If this is the situation, so then learn in this situation, what's the Toiv Ma'oid, how to steig in this situation. I have a friend, he called me up on Tuesday. He said to me, his son is getting married on Sunday. He asked me, can I be Mesader Kedushin? I said to him, yeah, okay. He called me back on Wednesday. He told me on Wednesday, his son is now no longer getting married on Sunday. He's getting married on Monday. And you're no longer the Mesader Kedushin. I told him, no problem. He said, you'll be an aide. I said, no problem, an aide, no problem. No, he called me back yesterday. He told me, okay, the Sunday is back on, Chatzin is back on Sunday. And you're not a Mesader Kedushin, and you're not an aide, and you're not invited because of the matziv. And he said it with such a smile. And he said it with such a happiness. This is what the Rebbeinu Shalom sent me. The wedding got changed. The Mesader Kedushin got changed. The Eidim got changed. The hall got changed. Everything got changed. I told him, Abi, if the Chassan and Kallus don't get changed, we're okay. That's it. As Koil Asher Asa V'Hinei Toiv Ma'oid. Adapt to the situation. A Yid told me before Sukkot, he was diagnosed with corona, literally Erev Sukkot, and he told me, what's going to be. He called me after Sukkot. He told me he will never experience such a Sukkot. He did not leave the sukkah except to go to the toilet for 7 straight days. He said he felt like one of the tzaddikim. Imagine for 7 straight days, he didn't leave a sukkah. It's something that in his whole life, he'll probably never be zeicha to do again. He'll never be zeicha to do such a thing again, to never leave the sukkah. But we look at everything and we have such problems with this and this. I won't be able to leave. I won't be able to that. The Oragonis, so we'll leave it for the tzaddikim. That's fine. There's a little machlekes between the sun and the moon. It's fine. The bria is still perfect. Adam Arishan is chayte. The bria is still perfect. Yesterday, my kid said, Tati, we got to do some Ben Atzmanim trip. And because otherwise you're not Yotzei Ben Atzmanim. You're not Yotzei. And the mamish, you're not even Yotzei. So I said, okay, look, let's try to go to the north. No, the north, it didn't work out. We found out there were people up there, they're getting 500 shekel ticket per everybody in the car. And okay, so that didn't work out. So we said, maybe we'll go to the beach. No, so we called up the police. I'm not interested in getting a ticket. The police told us, no, you're not allowed to go to the beach. I'm talking at night, obviously. Go that night. No, you're not allowed to go. So they told us, but you're allowed to jog. So we decided maybe we'll dress up as joggers. No, it's going to ruin a little bit of the whole, all the calluses. It'll be on YouTube by the morning. No, okay, so what did we do? It was 11 o'clock at night, and we were deciding, no. So finally, you know what we did? We went over here, right near the house. There's a park. There's like right over there by Summit Ramot. You guys know what I'm talking about. That big football field. And we just went there, and we just ran around, and we had a great time. And I made up a song about the place, and Mekarazim. And you know what? Vayar is kol asher asa v'hinei toiv ma'od. And it was beautiful. I told the Yid today, he's been laning the Torah for the last 40 years or 50 years. I forgot what he told me. And he just came out of the hospital for an operation, and he's the Balkoire in the shul. And I knew that he had intentions to lane in the shul this Shabbos, but he can't lane in the shul. A person that just came out of the hospital to come to a shul this Shabbos with Corona and everything. I called him up. I told him this week, maybe you shouldn't come to shul. So he said to me, no, he appreciates my opinion. But, I told him, I don't want to have to say this. It is asa for you to come to shul. And not only that, if you come to shul, so then we're not going to be yotzei. Because for you to lane in shul when it's dangerous for you to be there is a mitzvah b'avera. That means your laning is pasul. If your laning is pasul, then we're not yotzei laning. No, he heard that already. What can he do? We're not yotzei laning. So I told him, no, how do you feel? So he told me, nakishmak. That means that now I miss Bereshis. I miss Bereshis. So I told him, so what are you feeling? You miss Bereshis? And then what's going to be the rest of the year? So it's like, it's incomplete. I told him you're making a big mistake. When HaKadosh Baruch Hu was boirei the oragonis. So what did he do? He was going as it for the tzaddikim. He didn't say it's a mistake. The plan is not what you call perfection. Now the perfection is to lane the next 50 parshas, the next 51 to lane those and to not bichlal be misyaches to the fact that you didn't lane Bereshis. That's perfection. That's perfection. When you're in the world of the Rebbeinu Shalom, in what he sends us, the plan is not always the way we do it, Rabbi Sai. The chassan's here, the Kallus here. Imagine the lesson to a chassan and Kallus this week. That the chassan and Kallus, they saw you can make a chasana without anybody else except for the chassan and Kallus. And they saw all the gutzkeit and all the toiv and all the chesed that everybody around them did. Every person that gave them their houses, every person that gave up their backyards and their whole matzavim to help their simcha. Imagine the lesson that will be taught to a chassan Kallus that will remember their wedding better than me and you are going to remember our wedding, Rabbi Isai. Maybe not our wives, but better than the men for sure. Vayar lekim es kol asher asa v'hinei toiv ma'od. I have a shvager, his grandmother was a survivor. And she once told over to us, to the children, and she once was telling over some experiences in Auschwitz. She said over such a Mordecai story. She said that she worked in the kitchen in the camps, and that on Erev Purim, they found out that it was Purim. And she went, and she had, she had an office job. And she went and she smuggled out potato peels. Potato peels in Auschwitz was a commodity. She came to her friends in the camps in the next morning, and they got together and she had potato peels and something, I can't remember what, there was another thing there, and they gave out shalach manos. And one girl gave it to the next girl, and one next girl gave it to the next girl, and went all the way around the entire barracks, and everybody there was Mekayim Shalach Manos. She said that Shalach Manos, das Mishlech Manos gewendet, it was the most special Mishlech Manos that she ever had. I'm a spoil from the story. But I'm a spoil more from? I'm spoil more from the attitude in Auschwitz to be able to be Mekayim Mishlech Manos. That comes from an attitude of, if this is where I am, Vayar lekim es kol asher asa v'hinei toiv ma'od. So then the situation I'm in right now, even if it's not perfection, and even if it's in Auschwitz, and it's the worst situation, but there's a perfection even in that situation. A Mishloach Manas that she'll never forget her whole life. A Mishloach Manas, which was beautiful. A Mishloach Manas that there probably hasn't been such a Mishloach Manas since the time that Mordechai HaTzadik was Masak in the mitzvah itself. Because when you live with that hashkafa, Vayar Lekim is Koila Sharasa, V'hinei Tov Moed, so then every imperfection is just a chelik of making the perfection. It's just adding to the shleimus of even within the imperfections to be able to have perfection. That is a very, very high madrega. That's certainly the lesson that we're living in right now. That's certainly the times that we're living in now, which I tell you, Rabbi Isai, today, as some of you know, I think the email went out, is my birthday. I don't usually spread around my birthday in public, but apparently it was spread around. Today's my birthday, as you see in the signs in the background. You know, I'm not going to have that bowling pizza party that was planned. And as you know, we had to cancel our get together in Rainbow Lanes on 16th Avenue. And I don't know if it exists anymore, but that's what I remember from the Heim. And unfortunately, it doesn't look like I'm going to be having a bowling party this year, a bowling party. And, you know, I sat down and I said, I'm not having a bowling party. And not only that, usually my birthday comes out the last day of Ben Azmanim. I usually go up to the north. I go to the Kfarim. I daven for Atzlacha Dizma. What do I do in the north, Rabbi Isai? I go to the Beis Yosef. I daven Rebbeinu Shalayla B'schus the Beis Yosef. We learn your Torah all day long. Please give success. Give Atzlacha to the Koilim, to the various Shurim. What am I going for? And that's not going to happen. I go to the Arizal's mikveh, so that I should be able to say the Shira B'kedusha B'Taira, and that doesn't look like it's going to happen. And the bowling also got canceled. But you know, but Lamaisa, we had the pizza. And you know what? And you know, it's so if you have the pizza, and so then you don't have the bowling, and you don't have the Arizal's mikveh, and you don't have the davening by the Beis Yosef's kever. But you have to be able in every situation to see Vayar Lekim as Koila Shersa, V'hinei Tov Moed. No, Shlomi, the scratch on your car. When you look at a scratch on the car, the first scratch, I think, no? You got a first scratch. Everybody mazel tov. Shlomi got the first scratch on the car. No, the Maisa, I didn't want to say who it was, so I won't say who, but somebody got a scratch on their car. You know what? You could look at that scratch on the car. You could go, oh, what am I going to do when I have to scratch? But I have a tired Talmud, a dear Talmud, comes to me, says, that scratch in the car, when I look at that scratch, now I see Zeichel L'Churban. That means every time he sees that scratch, it connects him to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's a person that lives in the world of Vayar Lekim, as Koila Sherasa, V'hinei Tov Moed. If a person, even in Churban, he could see, that's going to connect me more to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's the lesson, Rabbi Isai, in these times. It's my birthday, so I'll give you all a bracha, because obviously it was a day that I had a lot of siyata d'shmaya. So to all of the Talmidim, from the Koilim, from those that watch the Shiurim, I wish you all tremendous bracha, a year of gewaldike atzlacha, health, a year of atzlacha and parnasa, a year of Yeshuas for yourselves, for your families, for ganz Klal Yisrael. And halavai this year, Bez Hashem, we'll all be together in Yerushalayim Yer Kodesh, Bez Hashem. This Monday, Mir Hashem, halavai, this man is going to start. By the first Seder Koilel, by the second Seder Koilel, halavai will all be together in person. The Zoom will still be going for those that aren't yet able to come back. Al Kanfei Neshurim. But Al Kapanim, Bez Hashem, we're back. Bez Hashem, stark together. Mit Hashem, we're going to have a lot of atzlacha this year. Bez Hashem. If you had such an Elul with such a Yomim Tovim, as Bereshis Shalom has big plans for Tavshin Pei Aleph. Big plans for Tavshin Pei Aleph for Baisai. Mit Hashem, we'll all be together. You should all have kol tov. Shabbos, Rabbi Isai. Unmute my brothers.
Shabbos, Rabbi.
Shabbos, Rabbi.
Shabbos, Rabbi.
Shabbos, guys. Rabbi Spitzer, you have corona?
Shabbos.
Rabbi Monday.
Shabbos, Rabbi.
Shabbos.
Shabbos, Rabbi. Happy anniversary.
Rabbi Spitzer, you have corona?
Happy birthday.
Birthday, not anniversary.
No, it's anniversary also then.
What? No.
No?
We're getting engaged.
The engagement. Okay.
Good boy.
that one of the 5 people who gave away his
Rabbi Singer, no games.
It's not because it becomes
What games?
not relevant.
Make sure you put on pants before you come to the kollel. Rabbi Greenhouse,
So when the person said, I gave away the garden,
come back here. What's going on here? None of this business. You need a haircut.
People don't live in a house without garden. So when they give out the garden,
Rabbi Sher, be careful. The Shagitari holds that you're not allowed to laugh when you're wearing tefillin.
Shabbos, he would put his friends.
Be careful. Yeah.
Being very serious.
Erwin, no games. Yeah. Not this good Shabbos. Rabbi Silverman, I'll watch your
Shabbos
kid.
is Shabbos.
Make sure he behaves. Don't worry.
Shabbos, Rabbi.
Shlomi, I didn't tell them who it was. Don't worry.
Thanks for having my back, Rabbi.
Let's see. No games. Yeah, I'll see you back in the kollel. There's no games. Yeah.
Kiddush, Rabbi. Kiddush on Monday. We're doing Kiddush,
I think
right?
so. We have to have a big party, maybe. No.
I think so.
Social distancing. Don't worry.
Slimy's baby. People don't know that Slimy had a baby. News, show your baby.
Oh, Shlomi, you never made a kiddush for my guys?
Fake
I don't
news.
believe this. What?
Fake news.
Wait, is
We
it a
have
real
Frosé.
baby?
We have Frosé.
Maybe it's not a real baby. Pick it up. Let's see if it's real. No, it looks real. Okay. Danny, have a great Shabbos. Rabbi Balon, great Shabbos. Rabbi Michaeli, good Shabbos. Michaeli, I'm calling you in a minute, probably. Rabbi Levin, good Shabbos. Who's Moshe? Which Moshe is this? Pavel? Who's Moshe? Moshe Rabbeinu. All right, good Shabbos, Kindlech. Thanks, Danny.
Shabbos, Rabbi.